Welcome and thank you for joining us today. We're excited to have you here as part of our Pathlock Innovation Series. We have several events coming up still today for our PeopleSoft Innovation Day. I just put a link in the chat for you to click on, and you can look at the schedule there. It'll take you to a link with the schedule and you can pick if there's any other sessions you want besides this one. Right now, our session is called 10 Reasons Why OCI Creates Real Value for PeopleSoft Clients. And Graham Smith, head of PeopleSoft Technology from version 1, is with us today to present. We're excited to have him. My name is Stephanie Anderson, and I'm the Global Webinar Manager here at Pathlock. And before we go any further, I just have a few housekeeping items to go over. If you have any audio issues during this webinar, please click on Preferences and then Audio. From there, you can check to see if you are using the appropriate audio device. You can also click on the Play Sound to check if you can hear the sound coming through your speakers. There will be a Q&A session following this presentation, so if you have any questions, please add them into the question box. You should find that on your control panel to answer at the end of the event. Everyone is on mute during this presentation except for the presenters, and this is to prevent background noise. And with that, I'll turn the time over to Graham.
That's great. Thank you, Stephanie. And it's great to be with you at this Pathlock Innovations Day for PeopleSoft. And this session today is my personal take on 10 reasons why I think Oracle Cloud Infrastructure creates real value for PeopleSoft customers. And if you're thinking about going to public cloud infrastructure, or you're thinking about going to OCI, or you're just considering it and evaluating why would I do that, then I'm hoping there's something in this presentation that may help you. My name is Graham Smith. I head up the PeopleSoft technology team here at version 1. I'm a developer, actually, and I'm a PeopleSoft infrastructure specialist at heart. I'm a certified OCI architect and Oracle ACE director as well under the ACE program at Oracle. I've got over probably 20+ years experience helping organizations get the most out of their PeopleSoft investments. And I love being part of the worldwide PeopleSoft community, and this is part of that, the Innovations Day at Pathlock, and just bringing that community together. I love learning new things from the community and sharing what I know with others, and I hope that you'll find that this session useful today. So it's wonderful to be joining you all at this Pathlock Innovation Day. Today, I'm going to be sharing what I believe are 10 reasons why OCI creates value for PeopleSoft. I'm proud to belong to an award-winning IT services company employing over 2,000 people in a number of countries. We have teams based in Ireland, UK, India, and I have a number of specialist practices, including Oracle Cloud, eBusiness Suite, JD Edwards, and PeopleSoft. And within version 1, I'm part of that PeopleSoft team. We have over 50 professionals that make up the PeopleSoft practice here at version 1, and we've collectively been working with PeopleSoft for over 25 years across all the pillars, helping customers get the most out of their PeopleSoft investment and helping customers move to cloud infrastructure, including OCI. So version 1 has been running PeopleSoft on OCI cloud infrastructure ever since Oracle first announced a cloud platform, probably more than 8 years ago, I think now. We have over 100 successful Oracle applications migrated to the 3 leading cloud infrastructure providers. That's Azure, Amazon, and OCI. And we've been listed by Gartner in their vendor guide for OCI and recently awarded the PeopleSoft to OCI expertise by Oracle, having proven a process for helping clients assess and evaluate infrastructure as a service as an option for their PeopleSoft system. So let's just begin quickly by just establishing what is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. Well, it's infrastructure as a service. It's the ability to consume hardware resources, network and security services, all the intrinsic power and cooling, data center space, the security, cables, networking. You just consume all of that as if you were ordering something on the internet, and consume it as a service. But not just infrastructure in OCI. There's nothing particularly unique about OCI's infrastructure offerings. They might differ somewhat between Microsoft or Microsoft Azure or AWS from Amazon and OCI, but not just infrastructure, but also platform services as well. And I'm going to talk a bit about that as the presentation goes on and explore their database services, email, file system services. There's other platform services like logging and auditing, digital assistant and chatbot technology, integration and monitoring services. So what might PeopleSoft on OCI look like? Well, I've just got a little diagram here just to kind of represent some of the concepts here. So you currently have your PeopleSoft system running inside your data center, wherever that might be. And you've got end users both in your organization, and maybe you've got end users outside your organization dialing into and accessing your PeopleSoft system. You've probably got integrations with internal systems. You might have integrations with external systems as well. So what might that look like on OCI? So you would create yourself an OCI tenancy, as we call it. That's the space in which we build the OCI resources. And we would connect that in some way to your data center. There's a number of options for connectivity. We won't go into that today, but we would just basically connect the OCI tenancy to your data center with the view that we just simply create an extension of your existing network in OCI. That's the end game. We would migrate your PeopleSoft system to OCI. That's not what this presentation is about, but we have proven mechanisms for doing that. Regardless of the size or complexity of your PeopleSoft system, we've dealt with terabytes of database size, and we've dealt with production infrastructure builds that are 40 plus servers in size as well. So we've dealt with all the different ranges of migration challenges. We would then simply have your external and your internal users routed to access PeopleSoft in OCI instead of on your current data center. Same with the integrations. We would just route those through a different path to your existing internal systems, and your external systems would take a different route into your PeopleSoft system as well. Now, it's a very simplistic view of what PeopleSoft might look like in OCI, but actually this is a very accurate representation, and all of our cloud migrations that we've done of you would be able to describe their implementations in this way. What's key about this in terms of your PeopleSoft system on OCI is that it's your PeopleSoft system. It's the same PeopleSoft system that you're used to working with on your local data center. It's just hosted in OCI now. And with it come your customizations as well. There's no reason why you can't take those with you. And you have complete control over patching, updates, development of that PeopleSoft system, just as you currently are used to. Plus, you would get all the additional benefits of OCI. And so what are they? I just got a couple of rolling videos here showing, these are two examples of PeopleSoft systems running in OCI. The one on the left is 859. The one on the right is an 860 system actually patched up to 02, which only came out last Thursday. And using tools within OCI, we've been able to upgrade that system to patch 2 very, very quickly and get it operational. But this is what your PeopleSoft system would look like if it were on OCI. And surprise, surprise, doesn't look much different to how it looks if it were on-prem. So let's get into these 10 reasons why OCI creates real value. So reason number 1, it's a business imperative, and a pandemic, the need to work remotely, access to data centers and office systems has accelerated this for some clients. Here's why I believe it's a business imperative. I think we can sum it up in the next 3 slides. Firstly, we used to generate power like this, and now we just do this. Actually, with the rising costs of power here in the UK, it wouldn't surprise me if I start digging a channel from our local river and installing a water wheel to generate my power. It's so expensive. But anyway, that's how we used to generate power. This is how we do it now. We simply plug the device into the wall, flick the switch, and I get power. Nobody generates their power anymore. This is how I used to start my car. Well, I know actually not how I used to start my car. It's how my father and my grandfather used to start their cars. But actually now don't even have a key. In most modern cars, you have keyless ignitions, and you just push a button. Don't have to get out the car. You just push a button to start it. This I do remember. I used to have to change the TV channels by getting up out my sofa, walking to the TV, and turning a knob or pushing a button. Now we just use this. So things evolve, things move on. We used to consume our infrastructure by building it physically. Now we consume it in public cloud infrastructure, just but in a much more simplistic service-like way. Just very, very briefly, a little bit of history. This is a photograph I took maybe 10 years ago now. It's a science museum in London here in the UK, and it's a Ferranti Pegasus. It's one of the very first valve-based machines. They power it up every now and again. It's a fascinating thing to go and watch if you're a bit of a computer geeky nerd like I am. But this was the machine of the 50s. And then IBM launched their Series 360 in the 60s, and the mainframe revolution took hold. Huge data centers, mainframe data centers built in the basements generally of buildings, highly sophisticated power and cooling required for them. And we saw a centralization of IT services. Now my era, the 80s and 90s, the kickback from the centralized mainframe computers, we saw decentralized mini computers, and not just PCs, but mini computers that you could slide under the desk. And there's a lovely HP 3000 there from Hewlett Packard sitting next to someone's desk. Didn't need air conditioning, didn't need special power. But the decentralized revolution of the 80s and 90s, and then the emergence in the 2000s of virtualization and VMware and Hyper-V and Zen and Oracle Virtual Manager and other virtualization platforms. IT departments trying to wrestle back control of the decentralized machines. And then in the last two decades, we see the emergence of cloud computing, which is essentially somebody else's hardware with virtualization running on it and some value-added services. And Amazon and Microsoft and Oracle are leaders in this space now. So let's put cloud computing front and center. It's where we are today. I mean, it's interesting to see where we've come from, and it's where many have been for the last 15 years or so, and it is the trajectory for most organizations. It's more than a fad, it's more than a trend. It's a business imperative because it can make you more agile. It can make you more responsive to change when you need to change quickly. Think pandemic here. Think internet revolution of the 80s. Organizations that had agile platforms like virtualization were able to capitalize on that far quicker than organizations that were stuck in the mainframe era. IT services are easier to buy. They're easier to consume. Compute resources are easier to provision. With cloud computing, you're able to improve security, but not just improve it, monitor it and make sure your security policies that you set on day one are still in place on day two and day three and year one and year two. Cloud computing can help manage costs, but it can, in many, many cases, help lower them as well. And we'll explore a bit of that as we go. So it's definitely a business imperative. That's reason number one. Reason number two, PeopleSoft will run on cloud infrastructure other than OCI. We have many successful implementations of PeopleSoft on Microsoft Azure and Amazon AWS. We've migrated PeopleSoft to both of those platforms. We've also migrated PeopleSoft to OCI, and this presentation is about the additional value that OCI can give you. So why? Because there are some unique OCI features for PeopleSoft. That's probably not a surprise. Oracle own PeopleSoft and Oracle own OCI, and it's natural that they would want to create some additional value for their PeopleSoft customers and have them run on their Oracle, on their public cloud infrastructure platform. So let's look at what some of those unique features are. Pay-as-you-go subscription is not new in the cloud world. You consume all of your cloud services, regardless of who your vendor is, on a pay-as-you-go subscription basis. However, you might find, if you do a comparison, that OCI very competitively priced. Now, it's not just because OCI is cheaper, but it's because of the way it's architected, and we'll get into that in a bit more detail in a moment. But you also may find that your Oracle database licenses go a little bit further in OCI than they do on other platforms, and some of the database options that you have, if you're running Oracle, there are more options on OCI than there are on other platforms, and we'll explore that a bit soon as well. So OCI has some unique cloud services: pay-as-you-go, subscription, competitive pricing. They're not unique to OCI, but there are some unique cloud services that are of benefit to PeopleSoft customers, and they include Oracle Database as a Service and Autonomous Database, and Oracle Management Cloud, Linux Marketplace Images. Oracle Management Cloud we'll explore later. Linux Marketplace Images we'll talk about later, and PeopleSoft Cloud Manager. And these are some compelling, unique features of OCI. Now, that's what we have today. And it will be no surprise for you to hear that Oracle are saying they're going to commit to investing more in PeopleSoft on OCI. I was at the Quest Experience Week PeopleSoft session by Rebecca Jackson earlier this week, where she said that's one of our key investment areas in investing in running PeopleSoft on OCI. So that's what we have today, but what might we have tomorrow? Oracle is not investing in PeopleSoft services in Amazon or Azure. There's a slight exception to that with the recent announcements of the Azure interconnect between Microsoft Cloud Platform and Oracle, and there may well be some leverage there in terms of benefit. But Oracle's investment is in PeopleSoft in OCI. Yeah, this was actually Rebecca's session at the Quest Experience Week, and it was it was a photograph that she snagged off the PSAdmin.io Slack channel that I posted during Sasank Veminar's presentation on the PeopleTools roadmap. I had just got wind that patch 2 of PeopleTools had come out, and I thought, well, no greater chance to upgrade my demo system to patch 2 of PeopleTools 8.6.0 than to get online in Cloud Manager from the conference center in Birmingham and do my upgrade. And Rebecca mentioned that in her presentation earlier this week. So reason number 3, you only pay for what you use. Subscription pay-as-you-go model is not new in infrastructure as a service, but there is a real big differentiator for PeopleSoft customers on OCI. I love this cartoon, one size fits all shop. And there you've got animals, and you're wondering how that one size fits all t-shirt is going to fit the elephant and the snake. You know, it's one size doesn't always fit all. You know, typically we buy our t-shirts in small, medium, and large. Well, this guy, the large is too big for him, the medium's too small, and the small probably wouldn't even fit his child. But you know, even 3 sizes don't always fit. So what's this got to do with cloud infrastructure? Well, pay-as-you-go subscription to cloud services usually involve buying virtual machines or servers or compute instances, to use the Oracle infrastructure terminology. This is the server on which your software runs, and all the other cloud providers, other than Oracle, all the other cloud providers give you different sizes of machine: small, medium, large, extra large, extra large, and you don't get control over precisely how many CPUs you need and precisely how much memory you need. But in OCI, you do. And the OCI has this concept of a flex shape, and that means you can tailor precisely the number of CPUs and memory that you assign to your WebLogic instances, which typically require much more memory than they do CPU. And you're able to assign a lot more CPU to your application servers in PeopleSoft, because typically they need much more CPU and slightly less memory than a WebLogic server. And this allows you to, at a very fine-grained level, adjust the specifications of infrastructure that you can engineer for your PeopleSoft system and really optimize that for, and consequently, you only pay for what you use. So this is an example of Microsoft Azure shapes. I could have picked Google Cloud, or I could have picked Amazon, but I'm just using Azure as an example. And there you can see the standard default V5 shape has 4 CPUs and 16 gig of memory, but actually I need 4 CPUs and 32 gig of memory. So what do I end up having to do? I end up having to go up to the next shape size, which has 8 CPUs and 32 gig of memory. Well, I've got my memory, but I've got too many CPUs now. I don't need 8, I only want 4. Consequently, I end up paying more for the machine than I otherwise would need to, because I'm paying for CPUs that I don't actually need. In OCI, the shapes are truly flexible and made to measure, if you like. I can specify exactly the amount of CPU and memory that I need. And of course, if you're used to working in hypervisors like VMware or Xen or the like, then you're already familiar with this concept, and this is implemented in OCI. It's not implemented in other cloud platforms, as far as I know. Reason number 4, Oracle Database as a Service. What is database as a service? Traditionally, if we're building a database server, we would take a Linux machine or a Windows machine or some Unix box, and we would install into it Oracle DBMS server. And that's how we've traditionally built Oracle databases on-prem and even in cloud hosting, if you've ventured that far. But OCI offers a database as a service. So rather than me having to worry about the operating system or worry about installing it, I simply go to the console in OCI and I say, please, can I have a database? I want it this size, and it goes off and builds it. And there are 2 types of database service offered by OCI. There's base database service, often known as database cloud service. This is a virtual machine-based managed database instance running on Linux. Or there's Oracle Autonomous, which is an Exadata-based engineered system, fully managed database instance. Now, this session isn't going to explore those in detail. There's not enough time, but just to call out, this is a real differentiator for running PeopleSoft on Oracle in OCI. You're also able to bring your own license to those database services as well. So if you've got on-prem licenses for Oracle, you can take those to cloud. Or if you don't have Oracle licenses, or you want to ditch your licenses, you can actually provision base database services and Oracle Autonomous databases and pay for the license on a subscription basis. So if you just want a database for 6 months for a project, you can spin one up. You don't need to procure any licenses. You just pay for the licenses on a pay-as-you-go service. And then when you've finished with that database, you shut it down, you stop paying for it. You only pay for what you use. So just some facts to clear up here. Oracle OCI is the only cloud platform where PeopleTools is certified on database as a service. They only certify PeopleTools on base database service and Oracle Autonomous database. And I've referenced 2 Moz doc IDs there that will help add some clarity to that. The other cloud providers, Microsoft and Amazon, both have database as a service. Technically, can you run PeopleSoft on those? Well, I couldn't say. Never tried it. You might be able to, but Oracle won't support you. And they don't certify PeopleTools on those platforms, which means they haven't tested them, which means if you have issues on them and you call up Oracle for support, they're likely to say, sorry, we don't support that. Oracle Database Management Service software can be installed on Windows or Linux on all cloud platforms. So I can provision an Azure virtual machine, Linux or Windows, or I can provision an Amazon AWS Elastic EC2 instance, and I can install Oracle DBMS on those platforms. That is supported under the usual support conditions for any Oracle database running on any platform. So we've actually migrated customers Oracle on Windows on AWS. We've implemented PeopleSoft running on SQL Server on Windows on Azure, and we've implemented Oracle database on Linux on Azure. And and Oracle on Linux on OCI. So all those combinations are supported. You can do that. The other thing to note is if you're running Oracle RAC and you want to retain RAC when you go to OCI, RAC is only available on OCI, on base database service. If you go autonomous database, you don't need RAC for the reasons that are built into the autonomous engine. But if you want RAC, the only place where you can do that in public cloud infrastructure today is OCI. And that's all to do with the underlying storage devices, which are only available on OCI today. If you're interested in an autonomous database, version 1 ran an Oracle Apps Day in 2020. A couple of years ago now, when PeopleTools first got certified on Oracle Autonomous, we got this operational in our lab. You can watch a YouTube video of our experience there and some of the results of that very successful lab-based project that we did, and you can learn a bit more about autonomous database there. So reason number 5, OCI native cloud services. I called out at the beginning here that there were some unique services in OCI that had benefits to PeopleSoft, and here are just a few of them. There's not enough time to explore all of them. I'm going to explore 3: file system storage, web application firewall, and load balancer. So the first one is that any PeopleSoft system that is well managed has a good, highly available, high-speed storage mechanism behind it. You have that with OCI file system storage. This is a file system storage that doesn't have an operating system underneath it that you have to worry about. You simply provision an instance of file system storage. You don't have to worry about keep constantly expanding it when you're growing, and it's perfect for PeopleSoft decoupled homes like PS Home, App Home, PS Reports, attachment repositories. In fact, there's native support for this in PeopleSoft for file attachments. And you know, out the tin, you can turn it on for OCI file system storage and object storage. It's got other benefits like cross-region replication, and it typifies the service-like provisioning of public cloud infrastructure resources that we would typically on-prem have to build from ground up and from scratch. All of the OCI implementations that we've done have featured file system storage in some way for shared homes, PS reports, and what have you. It's a highly available, very resilient, high-speed storage mechanism that can be used in PeopleSoft. The second one is OCI's web application firewall. Now, WAFs aren't new in the world of IT, and they may not even be new in the world of public cloud infrastructure. But for PeopleSoft, there's really good integration with the OCI load balancer and the analytics that are available within Oracle Management Cloud, which I am going to talk about, and the ability to offer open web application security, rule-based breach monitoring, denial of service attack detection, and the ability to build in custom rules as well. And the little video there showing PeopleSoft users coming into a WAF system in OCI into a PeopleSoft environment, and the WAF engine just logging and monitoring where those connections are coming from. Really interesting one over here in central Russia, which quite likely would have got blocked. The third unique feature I'd like to call out is load balancer service. Well, load balancers aren't really unique to public cloud infrastructure, but they, again, like the web application firewall, there's advanced logging and monitoring, which have become available in the Oracle Management Cloud tools, which are very, very PeopleSoft aware. Two types of load balancer available within OCI. There's a layer 4 and a layer 7 load balancer, so you're able to route your HTTP traffic, or you can route your underlying potentially your database traffic as well through a load balancer. Again, the load balancer is a service like the WAF, like the file system storage. There are no underlying operating systems you have to worry about. A lot of the customers we work with have Windows or Linux-based load balancers that are installed into an operating system, and then you've got another operating system to manage, an operating system to patch, make sure it's secured, make sure it's hardened. Here, no operating system to worry about. I just provision a load balancer, connect that up to my WAF for external protection, connect it up to PeopleSoft, job done. So reason number 6, OCI marketplace images for PeopleSoft. Only in OCI can you go to the public cloud infrastructure marketplace and say, give me a template image and build me a PeopleSoft environment. Only in OCI can you do that. There are images in Amazon and Microsoft platforms, but they don't contain PeopleSoft. They only contain the operating system. Once you've got the operating system, then you've got to go and additionally install, download and install DPK for PeopleSoft. So the Oracle Cloud Marketplace. There's a little video here. I'm not going to let it run to the end, but these slides will be available to you. You can watch this video. It's actually provisioning a Oracle Marketplace image in OCI on a Linux machine. It's going to fully install and configure PeopleSoft, including Elasticsearch and Kibana, something that a lot of organizations have struggled to get started with. And in literally a few clicks of the console here, I can provision a fully functioning PeopleSoft system. I'll just quickly fast track to the end of this video, and then there you can see us logging into that PeopleSoft system. And Elasticsearch is there, Kibana is there, a fully operational environment. Only in OCI can you do that. Reason number 7, PeopleSoft Cloud Manager. PeopleSoft Cloud Manager is an application that's delivered by Oracle to all PeopleSoft customers for free. You get this part of your license fee. It is capable of provisioning new PeopleSoft environments, upgrading those environments to PeopleTools, hooking them into your selective adoption framework as the PUM source. You're able to apply critical patch updates to them. You can clone them, back the environments up, restore new versions of them, and implement policies which allow you to start and stop those at certain times. All of this is orchestrated within this product called PeopleSoft Cloud Manager. PeopleSoft Cloud Manager is an instance of PeopleSoft itself, just like HCM or Campus or ELM or Interaction Hub. In fact, it's based around the Interaction Hub, and you can only run PeopleSoft Cloud Manager in OCI. So you can't run Cloud Manager in any other cloud platform, only in OCI. Very, very powerful tool for provisioning new PeopleSoft instances. It was the tool that I used from the back of the conference room session that Sasank was running at the UK Oracle user group last week. It was the tool that I used there to patch my one of my test environments up to patch number 2, which had just been released for PeopleTools 8.6.0, and it completed all of that with no effort from me in just under an hour and a half. There's another video here of using Cloud Manager to clone an environment. So if I've got a PeopleSoft environment in my Cloud Manager environment, then with just a few clicks of a mouse button, I can select the environment that I want to clone, select the action menu here, select clone, give the environment a new name, and away it will go and create an exact replica of that environment, both the underlying database, the web, app, batch, Elasticsearch configuration. It'll clone the whole lot into a completely discrete and separate set of compute instances. And again, I won't let that run to the end, but again, you'll see these in the slides when they're made available to you. Again, another video showing how you can use Cloud Manager to apply a PeopleTools patch. This was a recording I did a few years ago. This is so easy to do. I should have re-recorded it, but I just haven't had the chance to. But this is from applying a PeopleTools patch to 8.5.8. And as I've explained, I've done that very recently with 8.6.0. We use this in version 1 all the time. How do I know that a bug has been fixed? Apply the latest patch, test it. How easy is it to apply the latest patch? Literally 1 or 2 clicks of a mouse in Cloud Manager. and this patch application of this environment that I've tested here was just around 47 minutes to apply a patch. So why use Cloud Manager? Use it for selective adoption. Use it to explore the new features in the latest PeopleSoft image. Use it to apply updates and fixes to on-premises PeopleSoft. You know, provision Cloud Manager PUM instances in OCI. Even if you've not migrated your development instances to OCI, hook it back to your on-prem systems. Use it as your PUM source, and use it for learning and development. Who's had access to 8.6.0 yet? With Cloud Manager, few hours, and you've got an 8.6.0 environment in which your developers, your administrators, your business analysts, your testers can get their hands on 8.6.0 early before you start your 8.6.0 project. So that's all sorts of reasons why you would use Cloud Manager. Reason number 8, Oracle Management Cloud. All the cloud providers, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, and OCI provide built-in monitoring and alerting, but only in OCI does the monitoring and alerting, is it PeopleSoft aware. Many of them will just monitor the underlying infrastructure. Only in OCI is it PeopleSoft aware, and so I can get an enterprise summary view of my entire PeopleSoft environment, flagging up critical issues, not about whether the server's up or down, but about whether PeopleSoft itself is operational, how many transactions have been processed in PeopleSoft, what the memory is like inside the JVM, inside WebLogic, how much queuing there's going on inside Tuxedo. Only in OCI will you find that level of analytics and monitoring in enterprise PeopleSoft monitoring frameworks. And this is another screen grab from Oracle Management Cloud showing a topology of one of my monitored PeopleSoft systems. So I can see all the relationships between web application firewall, load balancer, multiple web servers, the underlying application server systems. And these aren't just servers, these are domains within the PeopleSoft environment. So again, very, very aware of PeopleSoft and flagging up using color systems here, which systems are in error, which ones have warnings, and which ones are up and running and operational. Reason number 9, OCI is a natural home for PeopleSoft. Oracle runs PeopleSoft on OCI. If you go to Oracle and ask them to run your PeopleSoft system for you, the hosting services provided by Oracle themselves run on OCI. Oracle runs their managed PeopleSoft instances for their customers on OCI. Version 1 and other partners in the PeopleSoft community runs PeopleSoft on OCI. And other customers run PeopleSoft on OCI, and there's a link there to peoplesoftinfo.com and listing out some of the innovators that have been called out and write-ups been written about their experience of moving to OCI. So you're in good company if you move your PeopleSoft to OCI. This is where Oracle will be investing in technology that can benefit from PeopleSoft customers. We've already mentioned that. Oracle's ongoing investment and innovation in public cloud services is in OCI for PeopleSoft. It's in PeopleSoft Cloud Manager. It's in autonomous database, fully managed, zero downtime patching, fully secure Oracle database as a service. Oracle Integration Cloud. If you need to integrate your PeopleSoft system with on-prem or external systems and you don't want to do that directly, you want to go through an enterprise service bus, there's a built-in Oracle Integration Cloud Enterprise Service Bus technology within OCI that you can capitalize on, including other services like Digital Assistant and AI and machine learning services, all within OCI. This is where Oracle are investing in PeopleSoft in those services. So it's a natural home for PeopleSoft. And finally, reason number 10, a reason why PeopleSoft, why OCI has value for PeopleSoft. It's your PeopleSoft system. PeopleSoft is an established and proven application in your organization, I'm sure. You'll have built critical business processes around PeopleSoft. Your staff will be skilled and experienced in PeopleSoft, in managing that, running it, developing it, innovating in it, creating value for your organization. You've got a myriad of complex up and downstream integrations into PeopleSoft. You can respond quickly to business change and opportunities. Why? Because it's PeopleSoft and you have access to the source code. So if you move PeopleSoft to OCI, you can still do all of those things. As you've seen, PeopleSoft and OCI looks like PeopleSoft on-prem. You still got access to do development in there. You still got access to innovations that Oracle are delivering, not just in the application layer, but in the infrastructure layer and database layer. So PeopleSoft on OCI is still your PeopleSoft system. You still have control over it, and therefore you can still innovate in PeopleSoft to create value for your organizations. So they're my 10 reasons why OCI creates value for PeopleSoft customers. It's a business imperative. There are some unique features in OCI for PeopleSoft that you won't find in other cloud platforms. You only pay for what you use. That's true of other cloud platforms, but take a really close look at OCI, and you'll see there's some very, very clear distinctives that add value for the PeopleSoft customer, especially around flex shapes of the servers and database as a service, particularly database as a service, which is another distinctive for OCI that you won't find in other cloud platforms. There are OCI native cloud services that PeopleSoft is natively aware of. You'll have to do development work to make that work in other cloud platforms. Only in OCI will you find marketplace images for PeopleSoft. PeopleSoft ready images. The concept of an image is not new in infrastructure as a service, and you'll find that in all the cloud providers. You can go to Amazon and provision an image that contains MediaWiki or MySQL database. Only in OCI will you be able to find a cloud image for PeopleSoft. PeopleSoft Cloud Manager, very, very powerful tool. Even if you're not migrating to OCI, it's worth getting OCI just for Cloud Manager alone to provision your PUM instances and get early access to all the new latest and greatest software that the Oracle PeopleSoft team are releasing. So even if you've got investment in Azure, or you're going the Azure route or AWS route, PeopleSoft Cloud Manager is still worth looking at and getting a tenancy created in OCI just to run Cloud Manager. Oracle Management Cloud, compelling monitoring and analytics that is very, very PeopleSoft aware that you won't find anywhere else in public cloud infrastructure. And final reasons are that OCI is a natural home for PeopleSoft, and it's a natural home for all the reasons mentioned above. And you'd be in good company in running PeopleSoft on OCI. And reason 10 is really an argument for staying with PeopleSoft and capitalizing on some of the terrific investments that the Oracle PeopleSoft applications and technology teams are giving us, which there's no let up in this. They're continuing to invest in PeopleSoft, and that means we as customers can continue to rely on PeopleSoft as our strategic platform for whether it's managing our students and university, or whether it's managing our HR department and or our financials. It's your PeopleSoft system, and it stays your PeopleSoft system if you move it to OCI. So they're my 10 reasons. Thank you for listening. My name's Graham Smith. My email is there if you have any questions. I don't know if we have time right now for them in this session, but please feel free to email me. It's been my great pleasure to share some of my own thoughts with you today on why OCI has value for PeopleSoft customers. And thank you to Pathlock for inviting me to speak today. Enjoy the rest of the innovation day here at Pathlock, and I'll say goodbye for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. We really appreciate your presentation. We have just about a minute for questions. So if you have any questions, please add them now into the question box. I also put into the chat the link for all of the rest of the sessions for the day. So if you would like to attend any of those, please click on that link and you can register for those. It doesn't look like we have any questions. So again, you can either email Graham or you can email us at events@pathlock.com with any questions, and we're happy to answer those. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you. Bye for now.